Have you ever felt, in a single moment, that the world just stops? That feeling isn't a sense of peace, it's a terrifying silence before a storm hits. A storm hit Amelia's life 5 years ago. That was the day her mother, Evelyn, vanished. Not a goodbye, not a single trace. Just an empty silence and a void that could never be filled. Evelyn wasn't someone who sought attention. She was a retired piano teacher, a woman with salt and pepper hair always neatly tied back with a wooden clasp. She had a warm smile, but her eyes held a profound sadness that Amelia had never understood. She had no enemies, no earth-shattering secrets. At least, that's what Amelia had thought. Evelyn's disappearance wasn't like other missing person cases. There was no news coverage, no televised appeals for information. Amelia's family, including her quiet, reserved father, decided to keep it under wraps. They said she had left, that she needed her own space. But Amelia didn't believe it. Her mother wasn't the kind of person who would abandon her family without a word. The unsettling feeling that something was wrong had haunted her for 5 years, like a persistent shadow. One day, sitting in her small apartment, Amelia was scrolling through an online forum dedicated to unsolved cases. She had joined countless forums like this, clinging to a thin thread of hope. Most of the posts were wild speculation, baseless theories. But that day, one post caught her attention. It was from an anonymous user named Whisper. The post contained a single line, like a whisper in the dark, "Ear is still alive. She's in a place no one would expect." Amelia froze. ER. Those were her mother's initials, Evelyn Rose. But how could a stranger know that? She tried to find more information about the user Whisper. There was nothing. Just that one post, and then silence. A chilling sensation ran down Amelia's spine. This wasn't a coincidence. She knew somehow that this was a clue. But it was so vague. A place no one would expect? What did that mean? A small remote town? A secluded monastery? Or somewhere even more sinister? Amelia decided to start her own search. She spent hours poring over Whisper's old posts, looking for any other clues. She found another post, this time about a different missing person. That post mentioned a small town in Oregon, a place the missing person had a connection to. There was a strange coincidence. Both posts were made at the same time, at midnight. And both had strange, cryptic wording, like riddles. "Moonlight on Old Oaks," one of the posts said. Moonlight. Old Oaks. Amelia mumbled to herself. She searched Google Maps, typing in Old Oaks. And to her surprise, a small town named Oakhaven appeared. Oakhaven, a peaceful town, nestled in a valley in Oregon. It wasn't a place anyone would ever think of. A mix of excitement and fear swelled within Amelia. This was a chance, a flickering light in the darkness. But at the same time, she felt a deep unease. Was this a trap? Was someone toying with her emotions? Amelia made a decision. She was going to Oakhaven. She would find answers, no matter what she had to face. She arranged a trip, telling her dad she was going on a vacation. She knew he wouldn't approve if he knew the truth. As she drove into Oakhaven, a strange feeling washed over her. The town looked like an old painting. Wooden houses with small porches, weathered general stores. Everything exuded an unnatural sense of peace. Too peaceful. Amelia felt like she was stepping into another world, a place where time had stood still. She parked in front of a small cafe and watched the faces of the people passing by. They all smiled, but Amelia felt a coldness behind those smiles. An elderly woman, with hair as white as snow, sat on a rocking chair on her porch, staring at her. Her eyes didn't blink, as if she were sizing her up. A shiver ran through Amelia. She decided to go into the cafe to ask around. Inside the cafe, an older man was wiping the counter. He had a wrinkled face, but his eyes were sharp. Amelia asked him about a woman with salt and pepper hair who used to be a piano teacher. The man shook his head. "No one like that here," he said. "We know everyone in Oakhaven." But his eyes told a different story. There was something, a brief flash of discomfort in his gaze. Amelia knew he was lying. She decided not to press him, just ordered a coffee and sat in a corner to observe. And then, she saw something strange. A young woman with red hair walked into the cafe. She had a scarf decorated with a pattern of oak trees. Amelia's heart pounded. The oaks again. The woman talked to the man and then left. As she walked past, Amelia caught a faint scent, the distinctive smell of handmade soap. The scent was incredibly familiar. It was the same kind of soap her mother always used. A rush of adrenaline surged through Amelia's body, but at the same time, a sense of dread washed over her. The soap. The scarf with the oak tree pattern. These couldn't be coincidences. She left the cafe, following the red-haired woman. She walked slowly, as if she were just out for a stroll. Amelia kept her distance, trying not to be noticed. The woman entered a small, blue-painted house with a garden full of flowers. A small sign was attached to the fence with the words, "Artisan's Residence." Amelia felt confused. Artisan's residence? Her mother was a piano teacher, not an artisan. She walked around the house, peeking through the windows. She saw an elderly woman with salt and pepper hair, sitting in a chair, whittling a piece of wood. The woman had familiar features, but something was different. Her eyes were empty, lifeless. They weren't her mother's eyes. Amelia's heart sank. Had she come to the wrong place? Or was this just a cruel deception? She returned to her car, feeling desperate. She had traveled so far only to find an empty lead. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, thinking about everything. She checked the forum again, looking for anything she might have missed. And then, she saw a message from another user, sent to Whisper. The message was a question: does she still play the piano? And Whisper's reply was no. Only the old, charred piano keys remain. Amelia searched online for Artisan's Residence and piano. And then, she found an old news article about a fire at a piano workshop in a small town in Oregon, not far from Oakhaven. The workshop had been completely destroyed. The article described charred piano keys found in the rubble. She returned to Oakhaven the next day. This time, she decided to go directly to the red-haired woman's house. The woman, whose name was Sarah, opened the door. She seemed wary, but when Amelia said she was an artist and wanted to learn about the residence, Sarah invited her in. The house was small but cozily decorated. Paintings hung on the walls, and wooden sculptures were placed on shelves. Everything was very artistic. Amelia followed Sarah into the living room, and then, she saw something that made her heart stop. On a small table was an old box. When she opened it, she saw the charred piano keys. They were very old and had a distinct smoky smell. Sarah saw Amelia staring at the box. "They're what's left of my father's piano workshop," she said. "They're memories." Amelia summoned all her courage. "Sarah," she said, "my name is Amelia. I'm looking for my mother, Evelyn. She was a piano teacher. She disappeared 5 years ago." Sarah looked surprised, but then a cold expression settled on her face. "I don't know anyone by that name," she said. But Amelia saw it in her eyes, a flicker of anxiety. "I know she's here," Amelia said. "I know she's in this house." A tense silence filled the room. "Why would you think that?" Sarah asked, her voice cold. "The piano keys," Amelia said. "And the elderly woman in the garden. She has hair like my mother's, but her eyes are empty." Sarah laughed, a hollow laugh. "That's my grandmother," she said. "She lost her memory a long time ago." But then, Amelia saw something strange. Sarah's scarf, the one with the oak tree pattern, fell, revealing a small birthmark on her neck. It was a star-shaped birthmark her mother had once told her about. Amelia was stunned. Her mother had a similar birthmark, but on her shoulder. She had once asked her mother about it, and her mother had said it was a hereditary birthmark. A terrifying thought flashed through Amelia's mind. Could Sarah be her half-sister? Could her father have had another life she didn't know about? Amelia returned to her car, feeling confused and distraught. Everything had become so much more complicated. She wasn't just looking for her mother, she was uncovering a shocking family secret. She searched online for Sarah. She found her profile with the full name Sarah and Miller. And then, she found another profile. A profile of a woman named Evelyn Rose Miller. Miller. An unbelievable coincidence. Amelia returned to Sarah's house, this time, with a different resolve. She was no longer afraid. She wanted the truth. She knocked on the door. Sarah opened it and looked at Amelia with a suspicious gaze. "Sarah," Amelia said, her voice trembling. "I have a question for you." "Come in," Sarah said, a weariness apparent on her face. They sat in the living room, facing each other. "My mother, Evelyn Rose," Amelia said. "Is she your mother too?" Sarah was silent. A tear rolled down her cheek. "Yes," she said. "She's my mother." Silence hung heavily in the room. Amelia felt as if the whole world were spinning. She had a half-sister, and her mother had left her and her father to come here to live another life. A life she had no knowledge of. Sarah told the story. Evelyn had left her family at the age of 50 to come here, to a place where she could be her true self. She had always yearned to be an artisan, but Amelia's father, a traditional and domineering man, had never allowed her to. She fell in love with another man, Sarah said, her voice filled with emotion. He was a piano artisan. They met when she came here to learn the trade. And then he died in that fire, Amelia said, her voice trembling. "Yes," Sarah said. "She was there, and she tried to save him." Sarah led Amelia to a small room filled with wooden sculptures. Evelyn had been carving them since she lost her memory after the fire. Amelia stared at the sculptures. They were beautiful, but also terrifying. They were distorted shapes, faces filled with pain. Amelia realized something. Her mother hadn't lost her memory. She was living in a world of suffering and despair. Amelia sat next to her mother, taking her hand. Her hand was cold and thin. She didn't recognize her. She just stared into the void with an empty gaze. "She was haunted by my father's death," Sarah said, her voice full of grief. She couldn't accept the truth. Amelia stayed in Oakhaven for a few days, trying to connect with her mother. She told her about her life, about her father. But her mother didn't react. One night, Amelia walked in the nearby woods. She saw a small grave with an old stone marker. On the marker, a line was carved, "William Miller, an artisan with a heart of gold." And then, Amelia saw a ring placed on the grave. It was her mother's wedding ring. A wave of sorrow washed over Amelia. Her mother had loved this man, and she couldn't forget him. She had given up everything to come here, and in the end, she had paid the price with her life and her mind. She returned to the house and told Sarah about the ring. Sarah burst into tears, saying she had been looking for that ring for years. And then, a shocking truth was revealed. Sarah told Amelia a secret she had kept hidden for years. Evelyn wasn't the only survivor of that fire. There was another person. That person was the one who caused the fire. "My mother found out my father had another life," Sarah said. "He had another family. And that woman came here and started the fire to get revenge." Amelia was stunned. Was that why her father had kept this a secret? She asked Sarah about that woman. Sarah showed her an old photo. It was a photo of a woman with shoulder-length brown hair. A photo of Amelia's mother. "This can't be true," Amelia said, her voice trembling. "This isn't my mother." She said she couldn't live with the secret, Sarah said. She pretended to lose her memory to forget the truth. Amelia returned to Oakhaven, but this time, she went somewhere else. She went to an old, abandoned house. This house had once been home to a family that had lived there for years before they mysteriously left. Amelia found an old box under the floorboards. In the box, there was a diary. Her mother's diary. And then, she read. She read about a secret love affair. About a life she never knew about. And then, she read about a horrifying event. An event that changed her life forever. Her mother wasn't the one who caused the fire. It was her father. The truth shattered Amelia. She sat on the floor, holding the diary in her hands, rereading every line. Her father, the quiet man who had always loved her, had been lying to her for years. The diary told a story of heartbreak. Amelia's father, Robert, had a secret affair with a woman named Julia. Julia was a piano teacher, and she was a friend of Amelia's mother. When her mother found out, she was heartbroken and decided to leave, to come to Oakhaven to start a new life. But then, something horrifying happened. Julia came to Oakhaven for revenge. She started the fire, intending to kill her mother. But fortunately, her mother escaped, but she had to live with a terrifying nightmare. Amelia returned home and confronted her father. She gave him the diary. He looked at it, and then he broke down in tears. "I'm sorry," he said. "I couldn't live with the truth." Amelia forgave her father. She understood that he had been living in agony for years. And then she decided to bring her mother home. Her mother didn't recognize her, but Amelia was determined to care for her. She bought a new piano, and she played the songs her mother used to play. One day, Amelia was playing a sad melody. Her mother came and sat next to her. She put her hand on the piano, and then she cried. It was the first time Amelia had seen her mother cry in years. It was a tear of remembrance. Amelia continued to care for her mother, and then, one day, her mother woke up. She remembered everything. She hugged Amelia and told her she loved her very much. This story is a testament to love, forgiveness, and the power of family. It shows that sometimes the truth can be very painful, but it can also help us find peace. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to my channel for more compelling stories. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Thank you for listening.